Well, hey there, everyone. This is Dave Dubeau. Welcome to another episode of the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. Coming to you all the way from beautiful La Cruz de Guanacaste, Mexico. And my guest today is Stephen Pesavento, who's coming all the way in from Denver, Colorado. Stephen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on, Dave.
My pleasure. So if you're not familiar with Stephen, he's got a rock and roll podcast all about mindset and real estate investing. He is a very, very active real estate entrepreneur himself. He's done over 150 flips in 2 years in 2 different states. So definitely an overachiever. So Stephen, great to have you on the call. And why don't we start off with what got you going with real estate investing in the first place?
Yeah, my story is just like so many other real estate investors. It starts out with this dream, this vision of a lifestyle that's better than the one that I have or the one that I grew up with. And it's one of those where for so long, I thought real estate's going to be the key. Real estate's going to be the tool. It's going to be the thing that's going to end up getting me to that lifestyle that I really desire, the thing that I wanted to go after. But there were so many things that were blocking me, so many things in my way. So before I ended up finally jumping in, I worked in management consulting. I ran tech projects, building web apps and doing digital marketing and number of different things along the way, including some startups that worked but failed, and just continued to kind of push until finally I had this big realization that I couldn't get real estate out of my head. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was the one thing that no matter how many times I tried to push it aside and say, not today, it would keep coming back up. So finally, I just listened to that little voice inside and decided to say, hey, well, maybe I can do this. Maybe I need to let go of those limiting beliefs that say, well, I'm not old enough, or I don't have enough experience, or I don't have enough money, or I don't come from a family that does this, or I don't even know anybody who's actively flipping houses or, an active real estate investor. So I just decided one day, finally, I put my foot down and I made a decision, which what that really means is I decided, which is cut myself off from any other options. And I moved forward into real estate, and fortunately the rest is history.
So speaking of that part of the history, because there's a big leap between making that decision to get started and doing 150 deals in 2 years, how did you decide what strategy to focus on? How did you get started with that? And how the hell did you do that many deals that quickly? Or was it kind of a ramp up kind of a procedure?
No ramp up procedure. I decided before I knew what I was going, the strategy of the how. I made the decision on what I was going to do. I got clear on why I wanted it, why it was important, why I was going to do it. And then I figured out the how in between. So I literally one day I was sitting in my living room and I jumped up and I was like, I'm doing this. I'm making it happen right now. It's a thing. And I burned the boats right then and there. I sent an email to all my clients. I was building websites at the time. I said, here's who's going to be running your projects from here on out. I'm out. I've essentially fired myself from all of my projects so that I had no other option but to succeed. And now not everyone's going to be in the right place to do that, but I think there's something really valuable about burning the boats, about going all in on something, about deciding that no matter what happens, I'm going to find a way. And once you get that kind of certainty in your head, things start happening. Really good things start happening. The first, right after that, within about a week, I went to my first real estate investor event. I researched this woman who was going to be speaking at the event, and I figured out that, she fixes and flips houses, and she runs another real estate club in the area. And I thought to myself, how am I going to learn this thing? I need to get close to people who are successful. I need to get close to people who have already been there and done it, already going down this path. I need to figure out a way, how can I add value to their life? So to cut the story short, since I know time is short, I figured out a way to add value to her life, essentially traded some of my times and skills to have the ability to follow her around. And in that process, I learned so much just through the process of being near that person, nice. Be able to hear, ask questions, and see things happen. And, there's a couple other steps that come after that, from going from 0 to 150 in 2 years, 203. But the most important part was making that decision and choosing a direction and staying on that direction until I hit that outcome I was after.
Well, Stephen, I love that story, and I love the fact that you took massive action. You found the person that you wanted to work with. And so many people, I see them making the same mistake over and over again, is they, say, hey, could you be my mentor? Hey, could you teach me everything that you know? But they don't really bring anything of value to the table. So all they are is really a pain in the ass for that active real estate investor. And the last thing they need is another employee, a free employee, so to speak, who they have to teach and train and bring up to speed, or somebody else who's just kind of leeching off them for free information. So you came in, and I'm sure with your background, you brought a lot of value in the tech side of things for this person. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. In my case, I was able to build and offer to build a $10,000 to $15,000 website for free and exchange. I mean, I'm making an irresistible offer.
Yeah.
The person had a terrible website. They needed a new website. And in return for me giving them something that's worth tens of thousands of dollars, they just had to let me follow them around where they did what they already going to do. I'm not asking for too much. I'm not even expecting that they're going to say yes, but I'm going in with confidence in my abilities and skills and saying, hey, like, here is what I can do for you. Would you be open to me, just being a fly on the wall? Mm-hmm. And I think that's where I encourage investors who are new to the game or looking to transition into another space to come to the table with one of two things. Value in the form of, I'm going to give time, effort, energy, knowledge, and you got to give way more of that than you're going to get in return for the ability for somebody to even pay attention to you. Because real estate investors, people of any kind of success, they want to help people. They want to get that fulfillment piece, but they don't want it unless you're 100% appreciative and that you're coming to them with kind of that abundance mindset. Or two, you got to pay for it. And so many investors, they don't want to pay for it with their time or their checkbook. And that's a big problem. And I used to have a real big limiting belief. I used to think that coaches and mentors, people who I was going to pay to be a part of a group or something, that this was a big scam, that they were going to take all my money and I was going to listen to Bigger Pockets or some of these folks out there who have been taken advantage by charlatans. But the truth is that most of these investors, myself included, I make way more money doing the business of investing than teaching somebody to do it. Because on a single wholesale deal or flip deal, so I flip in wholesale houses, single flip or wholesale deal, I'm making $15,000 to $20,000. If it's a flip, multiply that by 2 or 3. It's not worth my time to teach somebody how to go out and fish if I've already got a fishing expedition out there bringing in all the fish that I need. I make way more money doing this, but the reason that I would offer and the reason I would want to work with people is because it's pretty fulfilling. It's a really good feeling to know that somebody is going to come in with all the energy and passion that I have, or maybe half of it, but they're going to apply all of it that they have, and that they're going to go out and do something good. And it's going to make me feel good to know that I helped that person quit their job or help them get to that place. The money,
makes sense.
All the money is a commitment that person is making. It's not even about paying the coach, but it's about people don't show up unless they pay up. So that was one big limiting belief that I had. And so I encourage you, if you don't have money, just figure out a way that you can add more value than anyone else to that person. And I promise you, they're going to want to take you under their wing.
Good advice. So, Stephen, you've got your own podcast called the Investor Mindset Podcast. Tell us a little bit about that, how that came to be, and why you put so much emphasis on mindset when it comes to real estate investing.
The truth is, I was like so many other investors. Fortunately, I already had this foundation coming into real estate. And so when I came in with like hard vigor. I was getting digitally mentored by a lot of very successful people, Tim Ferriss, Tony Robbins, reading, that year that I started, I read over 75 books because for me, I didn't have a lot of money to invest, but I had a lot of time. So I was going to go find every mentor that I could, even if I couldn't or wasn't willing to pay for them at that time. So the reason that I started the Investor Mindset podcast, the reason why mindset is so important is because I was able to take off and do 75 deals my first year, 35 of them full-blown flips in 2 different states, right? But the reason I was able to do that was because I was set on this direction. I had super clear clarity on what I was doing and why I was doing it. I was emotionally connected to that, and I had focus, and I had mentorship to show me the path forward, show me the path to success. And I went down this path, and I went fast. And there's a lot of good things about going fast. There's a lot of bad things about going fast. You know, fast costs you money if you make mistakes. It costs you a lot more money. But the truth is, what I ended up taking away from this process was that when I talk to other investors, the biggest thing that holds them back is their mind. It's their beliefs. So their thoughts and beliefs, which end up leading to the action that they take or don't take in their life. And so what I wanted to do was, fulfill my own need. How can I talk to super successful people? How can I ask them the questions that I know are going to be a needle mover for me? But most importantly, how can I contribute back to the community that I'm building by having those other people be able to listen and hear? How do those people think? What are the thoughts and beliefs that they have that have led to their success so that they can move forward and do amazing things? And that is really what's come out of it. In just a short amount of time, we've become a top 200 podcast for investing. We've been on the front page of iTunes for multiple weeks after launch. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of passion and people need this. And people forget that it's not all about the tactics. It's about being able to apply the tactics consistently and knowing why the heck you're doing it.
So a question for you. You touched on your why. You got really dialed in on your why. You got very, very laser focused. And now that you've been doing this for a while, now that you've been interviewing some very successful people, what kind of suggestions would you have for other folks who perhaps haven't had that ability to really dial in on their why and get that focus? So let's start with the why. What would be your best way to figure out your deep down why? And it's not just to make $1 million.
Yeah, absolutely. The $1 million is just a high level thing. What's the purpose of the $1 million? What will the $1 million do for you? And then you keep asking that question as you go down the path. So what I've got for your listeners is I put together about a 15 to 20 minute overview of how to get really deep into that clarity, how to figure out your purpose, and most importantly, how to get emotionally connected to it. But I'm going to give you just a little touch of it, and then it's totally free masterclass. I'll tell you the link to, and we'll include that in the show notes.
Sure.
But the secret here is it's not a secret. It's just you have to be conscious of it, and you have to take some time. So I'd recommend sitting down, having a half hour to an hour, maybe more time, maybe a whole weekend, where you're going to start clearing your mind. What are all the things that you want in your life? What are all the things that you must have? What are all those goals? And then start writing those down. And then you're going to go back to each of those things or those purposes or those actions that you believe you want, that lifestyle that you kind of have that picture of. And I want you to start asking yourself, why is that important? What is that going to give for me? What is that going to do for me? What's the outcome of that going to do? And start asking yourself that over and over again. And as you keep asking it at each different stage, you ask yourself that question, you're going to start getting more clear on what the real purpose is that you're trying to do what you're trying to do. But the most important part of all of this, and I'm going to get deep into this in that masterclass that I'm going to give to all of your listeners, is that you need to get emotionally connected to that purpose. And that emotional connection to that purpose, when I say that, what I mean is, from a positive standpoint, from a pleasure standpoint, when you think about succeeding at it, I want you to feel happy. I want you to feel enriched. I want you to feel energized. I want you to feel on top of the world. But there's the other side of it. And when you think about not having it, when you think about your children not being able to live the life that you dreamed they could, when you picture yourself not having those things or that life or the ability to provide for the people that you care about, I want you to cry. I want you to be so angry that you've got no choice but to get up and keep going, because the frank truth is investing's hard. It's a pretty simple business, but it's not always easy. But the thing that differentiates the people who succeed versus the people that don't is that they've got a really clear purpose, so that no matter how many times they get knocked down, they're going to get back up again. And they're thinking the right kind of thoughts that end up leading to them having some really clear focus and really clear action in their business. And really at the Investor Mindset, that's what we do. We've got, some different programs with different former, coaches, Tony Robbins coaches, all these different folks that are able to help investors really unlock their true potential. And that's the reason why mindset has been so important for me, is because I realize that I can learn all these strategies, but I'm not going to do any of them if I don't believe that I can do them. And if I don't truly believe that I can do them, then I'm never going to get to the place that I want to get to.
Excellent. Stephen, time flies when we're having fun. So if people want to find out more about you and your podcast and get that masterclass that you offer them, what should they do?
It's totally free. As I mentioned, head to theinvestormindset.com/clarity. theinvestormindset.com/clarity. And we'll include that in the show notes for you. Just click on that, go right to that page. You'll be able to watch a video. It's going to walk you through. And I encourage you to actually take action. So here's my ask of you. You've just enjoyed 17 minutes of some learnings and some lessons, but let's actually put that into practice. Learning is worthless if you're not going to actually apply it. So here's an opportunity for you to do that. So I challenge you to stop the car if you're driving, or pause, or call somebody and tell them what you're going to do, but commit to yourself that you're going to take one action right now that's going to get you closer to that place. And if that means getting more clear, because that's what we were talking about, I encourage you to do that. If you feel like I got the clarity I need, then I encourage you to set a different action. But use this as an opportunity to move yourself forward and stop just being passive and start actively controlling your own destiny.
Good stuff, Stephen. Thank you very much. Great meeting you. Thanks for being on the show.
And thank you. And I hope you guys listen to the Investor Mindset. See you guys on the other side.
All right, everybody, take care, and we'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Well, thanks very much for checking out the Property Profits podcast. And if you like what we're doing here, please head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. Be very, very much appreciated. And if you're looking to create a regular flow of inbound investor inquiries about your real estate deals, then I invite you to attend one of my upcoming live online demonstrations. And you can check that out at investorattractiondemo.com. Take care.